What's good? What's good? How is everyone doing out there this after evening? I should say 6 o'clock here in Atlanta, Georgia. My name is Lee Black, and in case you don't know, I'm actually the host of Real Talk for Real Men, and you can find me under that same title under Facebook and YouTube. Look for Real Talk for Real Men, as you see it spelled there. But I'm coming to you not just as the host of my show tonight. I'm also coming to you under the TFG banner, TFG Ratchet. And so if you're watching me on that channel, please feel free to like, subscribe, and share the content. Under the TFG umbrella, we have a plethora of shows where we cover everything. We've got a little bit for everybody. So hopefully if you find us there, don't forget to share, comment, subscribe, be a part of the movement. Hi, Miss Carol. How are you doing? That's one of the other viewers from Real Talk. Great to see you. So I'm coming to you today. I happen to take off work today. Just needed a day to relax and rest. And lo and behold, on my digital platform, The Color Purple was available. So I decided to do a review. I was not going to pay to see The Color Purple. So let me start by giving a disclaimer right off the bat. For those of you who may not be familiar with who I am, let me state unequivocally that the views expressed are mine and mine alone. They do not necessarily represent those coming from the TFG family. They are coming from me and me alone. And I am, by self definition, an opinionated SOB. So be prepared. I say things blunt, direct. It's not meant out of any type of disrespect, but I am an equal opportunity offender, just so you know. And so be prepared for that. But I wanted to do a review, and let me give a shout out to some of the other fam. That's Brother Kendrick from the Sports Hustle, also on the TFG banner. Don't forget to check him out for sure. Miss Kenny saying hello. What's going on? The Real Estate Insider, Big Bad. That's the monster on the network itself. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you do so. What he does with the reviews of celebrity homes is not like anything you will find anywhere else. You get to see celebrity homes with a twist. The personalities, the commentary is just magnificent. And he also happens to be the brainchild behind the TFG family. So thanks for popping in. And so, yeah, saying hello. And so appreciate you guys popping in to check me out. Yeah, so I'm going to tell you how I feel for sure. They got my sister. Man, thanks for some of you guys popping in. So look, let's talk about The Color Purple. Let me start right off the bat by saying that I knew I would not pay to see this movie on the front end because I don't think it was made for my demographic. Soft like peanut butter, what's going on? Yeah, I love me some peanut butter, just so you know. So anyway, I don't think this particular iteration of The Color Purple was made for my demographic. And when I say my demographic, I'm talking about African American men over the age of 50. For the record, in case you don't know, if you've been living under a rock, this is not a retelling of the movie called Color Purple. It's a reimagining, just so you know. And so by that, I mean, this particular version in 2023 is based off of the musical The Color Purple. And so this is produced by Oprah Winfrey, Quincy Jones, and Steven Spielberg. And so they took the story, and all of us, you're gonna get your black card revoked if you don't fucking know what about The Color Purple. I think every freaking black person living has seen The Color Purple. It is a staple amongst our people. It is the, oh my God, the Alice Walker story of abuse, poverty, racism, um, touched a little bit on lesbianism, but it's also a coming of age story. It's a story that has a purpose at the end, and hence the title, The Color Purple. It comes full circle. It's also a story of hope. At its core, it's a story of hope, but it takes the long road. I will admit, for the record, of course, I've seen Color Purple, but it's hard for me to watch the movie again. It's not like the Shawshank Redemption or something else. It deals with such heavy subject matter. I watched scenes from The Color Purple many, many times. We all know the famous scene where Sophia's sitting at the dinner table, and everybody know that scene. You get your black card revoked if you don't know about that. Suge Avery busting up in the church doing her thing. You know, there's so many iconic scenes from The Color Purple that, again, it is a bona fide staple amongst African Americans. it was so successful that it launched a Broadway musical, and now we have this. Now, right off from the outset, again, I don't think it was made for me as a demographic. I said from the very beginning when this movie came out, I thought it would make between 14 and 18 million dollars because I thought it was for people who like musicals, women of a certain age group, and they were smart enough to put together a cast to bring in the fan bases. So if you like Haley Berry, if you like Fantasia, if you're a fan of Taraji P. Henson, it would certainly bring in those individuals. And it did. And I think it did what it did. Having said that, it is a niche movie. So that's why I never thought it would make a great deal of money because you've eliminated so many other demographics by what it actually is. It's not a movie I felt like men would go flock to see in droves. Certainly men over the age of probably 35 or 40. Because again, the subject matter is not made for us. It's a musical. And so let me get down to it right off the bat. It's chock full of great actors. You got. Let me just name some of the people that's in the movie. You got, as I mentioned, Fantasia, Taraji P. Henson, Daniel Brooks, who is a magnificent actress, probably best known from Orange Is the New Black. You got Haley Bailey in there, Coleman Domingo, fantastic actor. And it's got some surprise actors in there as well. Ciara, who's a singer, who's in there. You got Louis Gossett Jr., Dion Coles. Her is in the movie. Corey Hawkins is in the movie. It's just got some great people. John Baptiste. It's a great cast, but a wasted cast, in my opinion. So let's cut to the chase. Did I like the movie? I did not. I'm very happy that I did not pay to see this, and I was able to see this in the comfort of my home. And I was able to look at it and take my time and didn't have to pop any popcorn, but really get a chance to pause and look at things. So let's get to some of the things. I thought it let me down because you took a story that was iconic that dealt with true heavy subject matter. Again, we're talking about themes of abuse, racism, misogyny, incest, and it turned it into a gala. Now, having said that, I think that's what they were going for. From reading the bio on the movie, what they wanted to do was show an uplifting version of how we as a people, us as Black people, overcome and find the joy in it. That's where you lost me right from the outset. I don't think this subject matter was meant to find joy in it, and so I was turned off from the very beginning about that part. Let's get into some statistics. I think it thought it was a very misplaced musical in the sense that the numbers were they oversimplified the themes. I thought it was too much shucking and jiving, breaking out into song and dance on subject matter of incest, on subject matter of abuse and misogyny. I don't think that's worthy of dancing, just to be honest with you. And so for me, it fell short just even in terms of how it even is constructed. I just didn't like it. A lot of the scenes for me were very anticlimactic. We think about the famous scene with Beater. They did nothing with that. You think about the scene where Celie actually spit in the water of Mister's father. It They took iconic scenes that in the original movie actually meant something and it was connected to the character because they had built up an interest, and it was just a scene now. It was just something that came and went. And so I thought they missed the mark very much in terms of just of it being some gala. I thought what they did to The Color Purple was tantamount to when they killed off the Batman way back in the day when they turned it into some song and dance gay gala type thing. And when I say gay, I'm not being offensive, but that's what it felt like. Okay. As I said, those were some powerful moments that was watered down. And I thought they wasted even the introduction of some of its most iconic characters. When we first met, get to see who Suge Evie was, we're introduced to her through a picture, and then they kind of do some kind of little flashback scene where I don't know whoever thought that shit up, it just didn't even make any sense to me. So I thought they wasted that. When we first meet Sophia, We know the famous scene where she's walking. They captured that by Danielle Brooks, but it fell short in truly establishing who the character of Sophia was. So you almost had to know the movie to appreciate that she was this rough and tumble woman, but they didn't establish that well enough. And just by having a big, broad woman walk through, I thought it fell short there. Also, let's talk about some of the underwhelming, some of the other parts that I thought it was a travesty in how they wasted the fine talents of actors because they made them shuck and jive. It's interesting to me that some of these great actors, Louis Gossett Jr. and Corey Hawkins and David Allen Greer, agreed to take these roles when it did nothing for them. I can only surmise that they took it because it's an iconic movie. It has the producer star power behind it of, again, Oprah Winfrey, Steven Spielberg, and Quincy Jones. So maybe they thought this would be some kind of boon to their career. And hell, for all I know, maybe they just want to really be a part of, to be able to say they had some connection to The Color Purple, since Oprah clearly loves this so much. But I thought it was a bunch of wasted talent. It sanitized the versions of lesbianism. Here's where I think they missed the ball. We get to, in the book, the true story, it goes much deeper in the book about the relationship between Suge Avery and Celie. They were lovers. Well, when this movie came out way back when, certainly they couldn't truly go into details about that. But here we are, folks, in 2024. You missed the mark when now there was no reason to hide the fact that they were lesbians. And so to sanitize that by just insinuating and having them go to see a day movie together, and it blossomed into some song culminating in a kiss and they wake up in the bed, you missed the mark. That's where that demographic probably would have come out to see this movie had you addressed that more directly and more honestly. Because what you did for homosexuality and lesbians in particular, I didn't think it did them any favors. And I don't think we had to pander to that in 2024. If there's ever been a time when it's okay to be gay, to be yourself, fuck us, it's in 2024. There's no reason to sanitize that in any kind of way. Now, let's talk about also how, to me, they normalize predatory behavior. Right from the outset, when we meet Nettie and Celie and their father, and of course, it's clear that one is pregnant, and then she delivers a baby, and the father, that's my baby, this, that, blah, blah, blah. Well, you normalize that. Even how you introduce Mr., and that he came around basically shadowing and looking for Nettie. To me, you normalize that with no context. And so by normalizing it, did you really do yourself any favors? And yet, the same producer, Oprah Winfrey, looks at R. Kelly as a predator, but you normalize predatory behavior. Once again, I thought you dropped the ball. Let's go to how they depicted men in general. Every man in this movie was depicted as some violent, oversexed predator, simpleton who at any moment could break out in song and dance because he had nothing real to say. I personally, as an African American man, I felt offended by that. Once again, it was not made for my demographic. So if you're listening to the sound of my voice, for you men out there, it's not for us. It doesn't do us any favors. It took the worst stereotypes about Black men and it amplified them and added to the confusion. So when we want to talk about where Black love is going and this, that, and the other, and especially when you look at the state of affairs between Black men and Black women right now, it damn sure didn't do us any favors, fellas. So I definitely thought it let us down in that regard. Now let's flip the other side. This movie was meant to empower women, Black women in particular. But did it though? In my opinion, it actually reinforced a lot of the stereotypes that we hear about Black women. It over-sexified them in many ways to me. It oversimplified the Black struggle from Black women. It basically turned women, the Black women in this movie, into simpletons as well. the way they talked, the way they acted. Again, to turn it into a musical, I thought it absolutely simplified it in every possible way. I don't think it did black women any favors. And the depiction that if you want to empower black women, that some kind of way we can revert back to good old slavery times, that no matter what we going through, we can sing us a song and it's going to make us feel better. Overall, I think it really made black people in general be the stereotypes that many people see us as anyway. And so I think that was another missed opportunity, if you ask me. Okay, now let's talk about really quickly about you might ask, were there any bright spots in there for me? There were a couple. We know Fantasia can sing, she can't act. That was a bright spot for me, is the revelation that she can act, and not just on a Broadway stage, but I think she has a natural ability to actually act. And I think if she wanted to, I think she could branch into that a lot deeper and get more roles. There are very good examples of rappers and singers who really can act and turned that into a second career. 50 Cent comes to mind, you know. And so I think if Fantasia really wanted to kind of be a double threat in a sense, I think she probably could really go into that. We also found out that Taraji P. Henson could sing. We know she can act. She's Taraji P. The lovable Taraji P. Henson. And of course, ahead of this movie, she got noted for talking about the pay disparagement between women and men, especially black women. We already know that she can act her ass off, and she should have long been getting greater roles and getting paid her worth, but the industry is unfair. But we did not know that she could sing. And I thought she showed a really great ability to be able to do that. I'm not saying she could cut a record, folks, but she did hold her own, I thought. Also, there were a few numbers, song numbers, that actually were really good. One of the songs that really jumped off the page for me was What About Love? The actual song where it kind of depicted the lesbian love affair, I thought was a good song. That song in of itself, I think, could stand on its own. They could have released that song. It's a beautiful song. So they had a couple of good song numbers in there that were actually good enough. I think that could actually be singles. But overall, I'm not going to say this was some great soundtrack. Yeah, we're not going to go there. We're not going to say that. So no, nobody's going out to buy the soundtrack. But that one song I thought was pretty good. Okay, and so to wrap it up, I just again want to keep this short and sweet. Look, folks, at the end of the day, this was not something that, again, I would recommend. If you're asking me, if you wanted me to grade it on a scale of a 4-star, if that's what's going on, I give it 2 stars, and I'm stretching to give it that. I just didn't enjoy it, at all. Candace, sweetheart, again, these are my views. It wasn't meant for me. Candace says I still haven't watched the movie. I wasn't crazy about the first one. So yeah, it didn't do anything for me. It didn't move the needle. It's not something, Candace, that I would recommend to anybody. Look, I would tell you like this: if you got nothing better to do, and you just happen to, it's there at some point and nothing's better on, get it under your belt so that you can say that you've seen it. But to me, it's a 2 hour and 21 minutes that I felt like I wasted. And so the reality is, folks, that here's what I'm left with. If I want to waste 2.5 hours by looking at some busted, broke down, nappy headed black women with bad speech, bad posture, shucking and driving, I can simply just go to any Baptist church or go to Walmart. So, anyway, that's my take on The Color Purple. You heard it here from me. I'm Lee Black, the host of Real Talk for Real Men, and you're catching this live on TFG Ratchet. If you're asking hit it or miss it, I just say miss it, folks. It just wasn't worth the price of admission. I didn't even pop popcorn. Yeah, not Walmart. Anytime I want to see nappy head black bitches, then you can always count on Walmart. So anyway, God bless. Good luck. Everybody have a great evening. This has been another take from TFG Ratchet. Thank you guys for tuning in. Everybody have a great evening.